Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of Storytime with Grantsbyy. What this video is going to be is me telling a true story of something that actually happened in my life, all while Overwatch is going on in the background. I'm not like a pro at the game, so you guys are free to judge me as much as you want. Anyway, let's get right into it. Now this took place at my current job that I'm working now. I'm not going to say explicitly where I work or anything like that, just that it's a large retailer that sells a lot of technology. However, I'm not a salesperson. I perform more so services, and I do sell services, but I'm focused on troubleshooting, basic diagnostics, trying to get people's devices to work. Usually it's a lot of old people, but that's more along of what I'm doing. So normally in my job, I meet with clients for about 20 minutes or so just to do some basic troubleshooting, like restart the computer, maybe reset a driver or something. Basic things that generally tend to fix whatever issue you have going on, unless there's something that is way deeper than that, in which case I just kind of figure everything out, gather as much information as I can from the client, as well as from my own eyes, working on the system and looking at all the different diagnostics, whatever I'm going to use. That way we can check it in and properly get work done on it. So this particular client that I was meeting with, he brought in his computer just for malware, basic things like that. It wasn't anything too complicated. It was a pretty straightforward consultation and check-in, pretty simple stuff to actually get done. So there wasn't anything too complicated or convoluted to do. So everything went fine in the actual initial check-in process. However, we do charge up front as opposed to we do the work and then we charge you. So I mentioned that fact to the gentleman that I was meeting with, and I told him how much it would be, and he was like, is there any way that we can do it after the repair is done as opposed to paying up front? I was newer at my job at the time, so I normally didn't see that happen ever, but I was like, okay, maybe it's something that occasionally happens. There's special cases where we can do it. So I checked in the back with my coworkers and was like, is there any way we can do anything for him? And they're like, no, policy is that we have to do it up front. So I was like, okay, I'll go tell him that. So I informed the client that he is going to have to pay front, and that's the only way the service is going to be done. And he kept insisting that he doesn't want to pay after the fact, which I understand. However, I was like, unfortunately, we will be unable to do the repair unless you do pay up front, and that is policy. So I don't know if you guys ever talked to someone where you said one thing and they heard something completely different, and you're like, how did you get that in their head? Like, they completely took what you said and just transformed it into a completely different thing, and you're just like, what is going on? And that's exactly what happened when I told the gentleman that the only way we can work on his computer is if he pays for the services up front. That way I'm able to properly check it in and follow the policy that we have to follow. Instead, he heard, because you are African American or black, you are unable to pay for the service because people of color are poor, which completely baffled me when he started getting upset that I made a racist comment towards him, saying that because he's a person of color, he's unable to pay this for the service, which in my head, I was like, when did I say that? I just said, I can't check in your computer, you need to provide payment up front. That's it. So being in a job that requires some form of customer service, I apologized, even though I knew I didn't do anything wrong. I still apologized anyway and said I'm sorry if I said anything that offended you or was insensitive towards your race. Unfortunately, even after apologizing for something that I didn't even do, it wasn't enough for him. He demanded to speak to my manager, and I tried my best to defuse the situation, but I could tell that I was going to have to bring my manager in order to resolve the situation and get him out of here. And something that makes me laugh is, while I was trying to get the manager, for some reason the gentleman felt the need to show off his belt to further validate that he had money, even though I never challenged the idea that he had money. He's like, look at my belt, it's an $800 Gucci belt. I was like, that's fine. We were sitting down, so I'm not going to be looking at your belt, I'm going to be looking at your face. That's what normal people do when they interact with each other. So once I'm finally able to get free from the gentleman, I head to the back and I radio for my manager to come over and deal with the situation. And I'm just watching from the back of my department, and it's funny because he's trying to talk to the customer service reps to try to get them on his side by telling them look at my belt, it's a $900, it's a $1,000 Gucci belt, increasing the value of the belt when he told me it was $800. And the customer service reps would radio over to me and be like, we heard everything that you said, you didn't say anything wrong, I don't know why this gentleman is getting upset And at least hearing that from my coworkers made me feel a bit better, just because I was upset about the situation by the fact that he's like trying to make a scene with other clients and other workers, trying to like make it a big deal that I did something wrong when I didn't. And one thing that just makes me laugh, guys, is like, pro tip, if you're gonna falsely accuse someone of being racist, don't do it to someone who's multiracial, because at that point you're just trying to make yourself look like an idiot. Like, you're just setting yourself up for failure. At least do it to someone who is purely of one race. Not that I'm advocating falsely accusing anyone of racism. Like, sure, call it out if it's an actual thing going on. I don't condone or stand for that. But if you're gonna falsely accuse it, at least try to be smart about it. And so getting back to the story, once my manager was finally able to talk to the gentleman, get his side of the story, he went to the back of the department, talked to me, and was like, what's actually going on? Like, what is happening? I told him everything that I said, everything that was going on. And then some of my coworkers were like, yeah, we heard the interaction. What he's saying is true. He didn't do anything wrong. And so knowing that the guy like basically just made up this false claim, he basically just went out there and was like, we know your story is bullshit. Either pay for the service, check in your computer and leave, or just leave now. I don't want to see you here anymore. And so like after hearing that and realizing that like I'm not going to get in trouble and that everyone knows that he's basically making up this false claim, he actually like personally apologizes to me. As like, oh, I didn't mean to get you in trouble with your manager, and like tries to shake my hand and all this. And I was just like, whatever, I'm done with this. I was upset, but I wasn't gonna like make a scene of it with him. I was just like, I just want you to leave and get out the store so I can like take a couple minutes to calm down and get back to my job. So like after the fact now, like when I tell other people the story, or even when I think about it, it makes me laugh. It's like a good story to be like, this is what happened at my crazy job, guys. You won't believe when this guy called me racist. And I'm like, what? But like at the time I was actually upset just because I am multiracial, and like I've experienced actual racism towards myself with like really nasty comments and like things like that. And I've actually seen other people suffer a lot worse with actual racism. So anyway, guys, that's it for the first story time with Grantsbyy. But before I finish closing out the video, I just want to make a quick note. Please don't use this as a generalization to misconstrue or make some racist views. Yes, in my story, the person was black, but that's just something that they happen to be. It's an arbitrary and circumstantial thing about them. It could have been anyone. It could have been a white person. It could have literally been any person of any race, creed, color, whatever you want to do. So that's just some arbitrary thing. Don't use it as a generalization to be like, oh, all people of color are trying to get whatever, get people in trouble or make up claims about racism. That's not what this story here is for. This is just me trying to tell a crazy story, and I don't want you guys or anyone out there to like try to use this for those kind of views. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to subscribe, like it as well. Leave a comment down below if you have any crazy retail stories or anything like that from school, your business, your job. I want to hear them. But anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.